Good evening.
Well, a very good evening to all of you, and thank you so much for joining the webinar. Thank you so much, Suresh. You have taken your valuable time for us. And
Good
before
evening,
we,
ma'am. Sushmita, ma'am. Good evening.
so before we move ahead, I would request Suresh if you can give a short introduction of yourself.
Yes.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening. And I request everyone to mute yourself. When there will be any question, when you have any question, you can just raise your hand and unmute yourself. Right now, I request everyone to mute yourself. Thank you. Yes,
Okay. Yes. Good evening, everybody. And just I would like to begin with my
Good evening.
extending my gratitude to APTTI and the officials for giving me this opportunity to give a webinar on English pronunciation. My name is Dr. Suresh. I work as a professor in a college here in Chennai. So I've been a professor for the last 14 years. And not only that, I also involve myself with so many other training programs. And one of them is APTTI. I am also a TEFL trainer. I have produced about 37 candidates so far, TEFL training. And I'm primarily an ELT professional, especially English pronunciation, because I did my research program, my PhD in English pronunciation. So I believe that I can do better when it comes to this English pronunciation. That's why when I was asked for the topic, I chose this topic and then I sent it to APTTI, and that's what we're going to look into. And that is it. There's
Good
nothing much
evening,
about
sir.
me. Yeah, yes, good evening. So, may I present my screen? Is my screen visible to everybody?
Yes, yes, Doc.
yeah,
Yes. So, so let's start from here. I hope we can start, ma'am. Anything else you want me to
yeah,
speak
yeah. Suresh,
about?
we can start now. You can proceed ahead.
Yes. Yeah. Before we go to the slides, I have the basic question. So, what is your speaking competency? There are four skills, you know that: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. But when it comes to speaking, where do you stand? This is just a rough figure about the levels. But where do you stand? Is there anybody who could say that I'm excellent or professional or extraordinary here? Anybody can say that? Anybody?
So I must say I'm excellent.
Yes.
Doc, yes.
Anybody? Anybody? Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, me too, Doc. So I've been a trainer in corporate circles as well.
Okay.
Other than that, I've spent the last 18 years as a content writer. I write
Very
all
good.
kinds of
Yes.
English content, so to
Okay.
do with technical as well as marketing and creative content, all kinds of content really. So I double hat as a writer, an editor, as well as a speaker from time to time. So I'm here as part of the training program for advanced learners, not
Okay.
so much at the school level, but more from the business English perspective. So that's me.
Okay.
That's me.
Okay.
Thank you for hearing me out.
Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your views here. Anybody would like to say where exactly do you stand when it comes to speaking competency? I've given you. I hope you can see the screen. Given like 100%,
Good evening,
90%, 70.
everyone.
Yes. Good evening.
Hi, my name is Neha, and I
Uh-huh.
have done my TEFL from APTTI in 2020.
Okay.
And I am a voice and accent trainer for the last 10 years.
Very good.
And I would say, yeah. So, and that's where my interest lies. So, as soon as I saw that you will be conducting a session on pronunciation, I was very much interested.
Okay.
So that's what brings me here today to attend the webinar, and I would rate myself as a professional. as far as speaking competency goes.
Very good, very good. I appreciate it, ma'am. Thank you, thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else would like to volunteer and say something? Okay, fine. So I am going to speak on behalf. Anybody? Did anybody try to speak?
Yes.
Did I? Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I tried to
Please,
speak.
please.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you
Please
for the
go ahead, ma'am.
opportunity.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm Gladys, and I'm from Ghana.
Uh huh.
Yes, and I can't rate myself as a perfectionist. I'm very particular about the correct pronunciation of words, but I can't rate myself as a perfectionist. So that's why I joined, so that I can learn more.
Very good.
Thank you.
I'm so thankful. Thank you for sharing your view. I appreciate it. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, so I would like to speak for those who has not spoken yet. Probably that will be you or somebody else from outside in general. Okay, if suppose you say that your level is good, which is about 60% in my perspective. It's just a rough figure. It's not found anywhere else. It's just my observations in my through my experience. Suppose you say that 60%, but why can't we say 90%? There are so many factors when it comes to this English language. There's something called pronunciation because we know that English, when it comes to speaking language, has got other like areas. Like you have this vocabulary, grammar, and obviously pronunciation. So since I've done my research in this area, what I've come across is that just imagine that you have good vocabulary and you're very good in your sentence construction. That means your grammar absolutely perfect. Just imagine that if you try to speak your own language, not pronouncing the words appropriately, whether it is Hindi, any language for that matter, and would you be able to place that language, the competency, over the good level, excellent or professional? I don't think you can place it. Probably you can just say good, but you cannot say because when it comes to a professional level, there needs quality. How quality it is. Quality means everything put together, not just a grammar and vocabulary alone. It also includes pronunciation. So that is also important. So let's get to know where we actually, since we are all non-native speakers, we lag or we have less. Somebody is unmuted. Please mute yourself because it is distracting. I'm so sorry. If you have not muted yourself, please mute yourself. Anybody? I think I have to look for the person. I'm so sorry. Who is not muted? Because I get some background noise. Uh,
It is Kumar. Kumar, can you mute yourself, please?
there are a couple of yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. So since
Thank you
I
for
still
letting me
get
take
the
the opportunity.
ma'am, I still get the background noise.
Please mute yourself. Kumar Bera, I request you to mute yourself. Lots of noise are there. Please mute yourself. Yes, if you can
Yes,
continue.
thank you, ma'am. So since we're all non-native speakers, there are some certain areas we need to explore and we need to update ourselves when it comes to the pronunciation of English words. We know that English language is a musical language. The musical quality comes out of the right pronunciation and the right pause. Okay, and not just that. Every word in the English language is split into pieces. Every piece is called a syllable, and not all the syllables are given equal volume when you pronounce the word. Only one piece is given more volume. One piece, I mean, one syllable is given more volume than the other syllables. So that is called the stress. So that stress quality or the exposure towards that area is less comparatively, I believe. That's one area. And the other thing is that not just the word alone. In a sentence, not all the words are pronounced equally the same volume. Only one word would be the highest, would be given more volume than the rest of the words, depending upon the meaning, depending upon the context that you're going to use that word or the sentence. So obviously, what you have to understand basically is that every word has got syllables. Not all the syllables are given more volume. Only one syllable is given more volume. That is called the stress. Word stress. So likewise, in a sentence, not all the words are given equal volume. Only one word is given high volume. So that's where the sentence stress that is called as. So those are the areas. And apart from that, when we pronounce English words, sometimes the short vowels we give a long sound. Wherever we have to give a long sound, we give a short sound. Sometimes we mismatch the long to short, short to long sounds. Sometimes Z sound we give the yes sound. Sometimes the yes sound we give the Z sound. We just mismatch the sound. Sometimes we add an extra sound unnecessarily. Sometimes, and sometimes we drop the existing sound itself. And sometimes we have to pronounce it as a T, but we pronounce it like a D. So likewise, sometimes the silent letters we pronounce. So whatever the silent letters we know, there are only about 5%, I would say. If you're not a professional, and whatever those non-professionals know about the silent letters, whatever they know, only 10%. There are more than that. There are so many words where the letters are silent that we will look into it as well. And we also sometimes stress the wrong syllable. Like I was saying, every word's got more than one syllable. And we need to give the right stress at the right syllable, not inappropriately. So if we give that, the meaning also gets changed. For example, there's a word called uh, content or content, whatever you say. So that word has got two syllables. If you stress in the beginning, it is a noun. For example, content, meaning stuff, matter, material, or something most important. So that is what content means. So that means you stress in the beginning, but if you stress the second part, content, that means satisfaction or happy or comfortable. So just imagine that how important that stress means. If you give the stress in the beginning, different meaning. If you give the stress in the middle, that's a different meaning. Likewise, there are so many words. Like even the words like defect, defect, conduct, contact, and present. Likewise, there are so many words in the English language where two syllable words where you give the stress in the beginning, different meaning. Stress in the second part, different meanings. So we will also get into it. I will also would like to give you some of the examples. Like look at the word. Some of you, now whatever I'm just giving here, showing through the screen, it's all like generalization. It's nothing particular to anybody else. Okay, no, and not to any level or whatever. But it's only for the average speakers. Okay, not for the experts, not for the professional. You may be very good at that, maybe even better than me, but it's just for the average speakers. Whatever I'm showing here. Sometimes what we do, just because there are two O's, we tend to pronounce like
Sir, I'm
food.
sorry to interrupt. You are no
Yes, ma'am.
longer sharing your screen. So would you
Oh,
like to
I
do that,
think
please?
I am so sorry.
That's
Okay,
perfectly fine.
I
Thank you.
unshared it and okay. Uh, I actually shared, but okay, let me just go back and reshare it. Is it okay now?
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am. Thank you. Okay. Yes, sometimes we say foot. Some of the speakers would say like foot, but it should be foot. Now, some of the speakers would say foot just because there are two O's. They say foot, but it should be foot with the short sound. And this word, sometimes we say food. For example, if you go to southern India, they would say food. Some of the speakers food, but it should be food. Look at that. These two words have got the same two O's, but it's pronounced differently. Here it is foot with a short sound. Here it is food with the long sound. You have to get the sound with the long sound. Food. And look at this word. We always pronounce this word with just because there are a Z sound, we get the Z sound like pizza or pizza, whatever. But actually, there is no Z sound at all for this particular word. First of all, if you find two consonant letters in the English language, both British and American English, one of the consonants is always silent. Look at the first one is silent. The red highlighted Z is silent. Only the second one is left. Okay, but this word is not given with the Z sound at all. It should be. Let me also open my notepad so that I can show it to you, write it and show it to you so you can see that. I'm just opening. It's taking a little bit of time. Like this, it should be pronounced like this. Pizza, like this. Pizza. Now here it should be long sound, and here it is a short sound. Pizza. There is no Z sound at all. Now, before I just go give a little more information about this, I also would like to tell you to find out the difference between the yes sound and the Z sound. I hope you can see this. I don't know whether you can see me, the video. Look at my neck part, front part of the neck. That is called the Adam's apple. You put the fingers here, and then you try to say like do like the snake hissing, like the snake hissing, and you don't feel the vibration when you put the fingers here on this Adam's apple. Okay, so if you don't feel the vibration, that is a yes sound. And the second time, like the honeybee, like zzz, the same place. There's Adam's apple. If you feel the vibration, that is a Z sound. So whenever you pronounce words, if you're gonna go give the Z sound, it should vibrate. Your vocal cord should vibrate. In other words, the Adam's apple must vibrate. If it vibrates, it is the Z sound. Otherwise, if it doesn't vibrate, it's the S sound. So when you say this word, if it vibrates, if the Z vibrates, then you're not pronouncing it 100%. No, there is no wrong or right pronunciation, I would say. It's just the level, how perfect it is. That's what I'm talking about, okay? For example, if you say pizza, I would give that you are correct about approximately 70%, not 100% perfect. So in order to get that rhythm 100% perfection, then you have to pronounce like this: pizza, like that. And similarly, this country's name, according to these English people, not based on this country's language and whatever. I'm only speaking from Americans or British perspective. Okay, here there is no Switzerland. It's only the yes sound. The spelling is Z, but you have to give the yes sound. So you have to say Switzerland with a yes sound, not the Z sound. So these are some of the examples I wanted to show. And then look at this word. Not all the yeses are the S sound. So we just saw that not the Z sound is Z sound at all alone. Sometimes it is yes sound as well. Likewise, a yes. This is only minimal, very least number of words, like words like pizza and Switzerland. But when it comes to the yes sound, there are plenty. I would say that almost like all the yeses. If we, for example, if we say that there are about 1 lakh S's in, 1 lakh words containing the letter yes, approximately. Not all. I'm just rough figure. And I would say that almost 50% of the yeses are Z sound, not the S sound. Only the 50% of the yes alone, S sound. The remaining give the Z sound. We will also look into that. For example, these are some of the areas where the yes goes Z sound. Look at this. We say wisdom. If you give it the yes sound, it is not 100% perfect. You say wisdom with the Z sound. You have to get the Z sound here. So we will also look into that. Wisdom. And also please. You have to get the Z sound here. Spelling is yes, but you have to get the Z sound. So that is One English. That's the basic rule. We'll also look into that, and also look at this word, this regular verb. Look, and we add ed. We know that all the verbs put together they're called like regular verbs and irregular verbs. So regular verbs is nothing but the rhythm, the course of the word do not go for a change. We only add a little bit extra at the end. So the course is regular. We don't tamper the existing word at all. So we call this as regular verb. We only add extra piece at the end. So the course is either irregular, so we say regular verb. There are other words like this, sing. Okay, we don't. When it comes to when we use it as a past tense, we say sang. The existing word goes for a change. A new letter is introduced, and existing letter is missing, but it goes for a change. The rhythm is not regular. So we call this as irregular verb. So we're not talking about the irregular verb, we're talking about the regular verb. In other words, you call that as ed addable words or ed added words. So this particular ed is, we sometimes tend to pronounce like looked, walked, something like, okay? But it should be, of course, the spelling is ed, but you have to replace it with t sound. You just have to pronounce the word as looked, looked, with the T sound exactly, not the ED sound, not the ED sound. So we'll also look into this. I'm just giving a little intro, okay? Similarly, this ED actually is pronounced in three different ways. Sometimes the ED gives the D sound, sometimes it gives the T sound, sometimes it gives the id sound. Of course, the spelling is ED, but we only say looked, wanted. For example, the words like wanted, tud, but it should be, you just have to replace the E with this E sound, with as in fit, kit, miss, that's what, like wanted. This is how you have to pronounce it. So there are things we need to learn a lot. So this is one of the examples. Sometimes we add an extra sound along with this. So some people would say film, as if there is a sound here, I. Now there is no sound here. There is no spelling here at all. Sometimes we tend to say it as film. I've even seen many people, many celebrities, when they give interviews in TV shows or something, they tend to say this word as film, film, adding an extra sound which is not there at all. So it should be film, film as it is spelled. And some of the examples here, and that sometimes we miss out the existing sound. For example, we say this is actually three syllables, this particular word. But what we do, we only give two syllable sound, like tuition. But there is another sound in the middle. Tuition. We have to include that sound as well. Tuition. Tuition. Like this. Tuition. Tuition. Like that. So like this, these are the areas where we need to strengthen our knowledge and skills and practice well in order to speak English professionally. I also have some other examples as well. Like the letter R is not always pronounced. What we do, Indians, most of the time, we pronounce all the R's, whatever the context it is. We'll say like paper, sir, teacher, father, mother, brother, sister. We always pronounce it. But actually, if you go to UK, they don't pronounce the letter R all the time. Sometimes they pronounce, sometimes they silence. It could be like 50-50, I would say. 50% of the time they silence it, 50% of the time they pronounce it. So we'll also look into that how. This is some of the basic rules. But if you go to the US, they always pronounce the letter R's, not like us. They replace the sound of re, ro, rai, ray, like paper, sir, teacher, father, mother, brother, sister, marker, like that. With like the sound they give. That's American English. And sometimes we give the stress at the wrong syllable. Look at this word. This word has got four syllables. So some of us may tend to give the stress for the second syllable, like India is a democratic country. India is a democratic country. That means we give the stress here for the second syllable. But it is inappropriate place to give the stress, but we have to push the stress little next to the next syllable. It should be democratic. India is a democratic country, not democratic. And look at the difference. India is a democratic country. India is a democratic country. Looks like, sounds like two different words. No, it's actually this word, but it has to be given cra. India is a democratic country. That is how we have to pronounce it. And then sometimes we think that the letter we pronounce words based on the spelling, but actually in the English language, there is no connection between the spelling and the pronunciation 100%. Probably there may be 30% of the words are pronounced as per the spelling, but the remaining 70% of the words are not pronounced based on the spelling at all. So if you're going to pronounce words based on the spelling, you may only be correct 30%, not 100%. Okay, because that's how English is made up of. If you ask the reason, that is because they started borrowing words from all over the world, from every languages. So because of that, they lost the connection between the spelling and the pronunciation because they had to transfer the pronunciation to their own language. In that process, they lost many spelling. There's always a problem between the spelling and the pronunciation. But here, we tend to pronounce a word as exam as it is. But it should be exam, like exam with a Z sound here. Exam. If you put E, then you're not 100% perfect. Probably you can say that you're 80% perfect with the pronunciation of this word. But it should be exam. 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 So that's how we have to pronounce it. There are so many words. I have a list of words I'll also share with you at the end of the session as well. And there are some words which we may not pronounce it correctly. We say petrol, the first word, petrol, but actually it should be petrol, not petrol. Look at the difference. Petrol, petrol. Petrol is the right pronunciation. Look at the word. We sometimes say patrol, Polish patrol. We say no. It should be patrol. Police. It's not police. It should be like this, like this. Police. Police. We have to get the stress here. Police. So police patrol. It should be police patrol, not police patrol. So look at this word. We sometimes, some of us tend to say this word as elite. Elite. It should be like this. Elite. Elite. That's the way we have to pronounce this word. And look at the next word. It is receipt. I don't know. There's so many ways we say, some of us. It should be like this. Receipt. Receipt. This is short. This is long sound. Receipt. That's the way we have to pronounce this word. And the next word is certain. No. Here, this particular sound is silent. So we have to, and the letter R is also silent. And you have to pronounce this word as certain. 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 Not certain. And look at this word. This word, we pronounce this word as tortoise sometimes. It should be toe, o sound here. Actually, ho, o, do, tus, totus. That is how we have to pronounce this word, not tortoise. Totus. But the Americans pronounce this word as totus. Totus, like that, with the T to D sound. Totus. Sometimes this word, determine, people would say. There's an E I missed that, I believe. So not determine, it should be determine. The letter E is silent. So you have to say this word as, this R is also mute. So you say determine. Determine. That is how we have to pronounce this word. All right. These are some of the areas where we are going wrong. And it's all some of the sentences as well. So what we do, we pronounce these sentences like sometimes some of us say like this: I have a pen. It is a wonderful day. She is going to school. He is attending classes. I will come tomorrow. I don't know. I can't do this. So that is how most of the Indians say it, because we don't connect the words at all. Because in a sentence, all the words must be blended. That is the usual, that's the basic of English language. That's the basic qualities of English language. Like that is called sentence, connected sentence. Meaning you have to put all the words, like you have to join the words together, not separately. Like this word, I've a pen. Look at the word. And moreover, you should not just leave the breath when you pronounce a word unless there is a need, unless there is something, depending upon the context. But these sentences, you have to say that in one breath, like this. I've a pen. I've not, I did not break the rhythm at all, the line, the sound. I've a pen. That's the first one. Look at the one. It's a wonderful day. It's a wonderful day. She's going to school. She's going to school. He's attending classes. He's attending classes. Now, here, this ES tend to become Z. Again, basic rule in the English language. We'll also see that. Of course, there is a yes sound here, yes letter. When you say that alone, it is yes, but in a sentence, it turns out to be Z sound. We'll also look into that. And we tend to say, I will come, but it should be, I'll come. I'll come tomorrow. I'll come tomorrow. I don't know. I don't know. I can't do this. I can't do this. Like that. So you have to say it in one go. So that's the way you do it. Let's just go a little more extensively. I have some thing called handout, which I will be sharing it with you. Look at this. This is called the phonetic alphabet. I was talking about words are not pronounced based on the spelling, but words are pronounced based on this phonetic alphabet. Look at this. These are called the phonetic alphabet. And so we have 26 alphabet in the English language. Are represented by unique symbols like this. You see the symbols? These are the unique symbols, and every symbol has got a unique sound. So the combination. For example, you don't have to do you don't have to invent anything. It's already there in the dictionary. For example, if you open a dictionary, next to the word in bracket, you'll find some symbol combination. That's the formula exactly how you have to pronounce the word, not based on the spelling. So they've already given that English, people, whoever you call it. But we need to know the sound and how it sounds like. Probably some of the day, because it is about 44 sounds. It's take a lot of time to familiarize ourselves with, but not today. So we'll go to other things. Yeah, these are like the sounds are divided into short vowels and long vowels, diphthongs and voiced consonants, unvoiced consonants. Likewise, it has been divided into. So we need to. Most of the sound letters and sounds are similar to the alphabet, and but the rest we need to learn. For example, this is the sound of zh. We don't. Not many of us use this particular sound. Instead, we use the sound of sh. Vision. It's not vision. It should be vision. Je. So this one area that we need to work on. One sound that we need to work on. Majority of us, actually, I would say, that they do not. I also have example words. We'll go to that as well. So this I will come on to this a little later. There is a PPT I have here. Sorry, hang on. Yes. So look at this. The letter A alone. Look at that. The letter A alone gives 6 different sounds. Look at this one. The first one. It's a sound of about, teacher. We are absolutely perfect with the first sound. Okay. Look at the second one. The letter A gives a sound of like fat, cat, rat. We are also perfectly perfect with that sound. But this sound is where we need to work on. Look at these sounds. Like it should be gate. This is a gate, rate, paper. It is as of a. That's the sound. It's a diphthong, but we only give one sound. A. We give the sound of this A. This A. This is how we actually pronounce. We some of us actually pronounce, but it's there is another sound because it is a diphthong. Diphthong is a combination of two sounds. It should be there's another sound I. It should be rate, paper, date, day. Also the word. There are so many words. This is another area that we need to work on, and this is a long sound. Ah. It's ah. This is a short sound, and this is a long sound. Ah, as in car, father, cart, dance, basket. Not basket. It's actually kit. Basket. I told you that spelling. If you rely on spelling, you may not be correct 100% all the time. Okay, and this is again another a diphthong. We say air, area, fair, dare, flare. Some of us, but that's not the way it should be. Air. It's a diphthong. This is sound for that. Air, area, fair, dare, flare, care. That's the sound it gives. And this one, again, we're good at this. So anything, anybody, anyone, we're perfect with this. So there's only one area. This again, we are almost correct, 90 plus percent. But the one area that we need to work on is this A. Okay, and the next one, letter O. The letter O gives three different sounds. So sometimes it is it's the short sound. Pot, lot, not, God, hot. It's the short sound. And this one is, we are actually good with this. We're already good with this. And the second one, water, port, course, or, pour, horse. It's not horse, it's horse. Because but it is actually American. If you say whatever we are talking about, whatever I'm explaining about, it's all British English. It's not about American English. Wherever I go talk about American, I will specifically mention, oh, this is American. Otherwise, it is British. But these Americans will pronounce this word as horse, horse. But here the British will say horse, horse with the R silencing the letter R. So horse. We are good almost with these first two, but this one we need to work on. For example, it's a diphthong. Oh, it should be. We only say go, so, no, phone, home, road, like that. But it is actually diphthong. There is another sound that we need to add along with this. Go, so, no, phone, home, and sorry, not home. I just road. Sorry, road. So this area that we need to work on. Oh. But there is no specific reason as to why which O gives this kind of sound. There is no exact rule to find it out. But what I can give you is like wherever you say oh, you have to say oh. Remember, this is a different. These two are different sounds. This is ah. The first one is ah. The second one is oh, with a long sound, actually, a little longer. Oh, because if you find the colon symbol right next to another symbol, that means it is a long sound. So it is a long sound. But we don't give the long sound here. We don't say a phone. We don't say a phone. We don't say home, giving a long sound. No, it's a short sound. This is the oh, but this is oh. This is kind of a you keep your mouth round shaped, the mouth round shaped, oh kind of a shape, but you actually say ah sound like ah. That is this exact mouth position. So this one is the O sound. O. Whatever you say. We usually say O, but whatever you say O, you have to give O. That is the only area, the tip that you have to use to identify. Similarly, this area I forgot to tell. Wherever you say a, wherever you say like a, you have to say not a. Say a, you have to say a. That is what you can do. There is no specific rule as to find it out. The next one is that letter E, any word ends with the letter E, 99% it is silent. But there are some exceptions. Look at this word. We don't say phone, home, wine, pure, KJ, because all the E's are silent by default. That's a basic rule. But there are some exceptions. Look at these exceptions. Only exceptions are I've given here. Extempore, not extempore. You have to give the letter is E, but you have to give this sound E. Extempore. So that's the way you have to pronounce it. Extempore, not poor. And this is Adobe, the software. Adobe Photoshop. People say Adobe Photoshop, Adobe. There are so many softwares. It should be Adobe. And this is hyperbole. This R is mute. So hyperbole. Hyperbole. Like this. Like this. Hyperbole. Hyperbole. So that means you have to pronounce the E as well. So hyperbole, that's how we have to pronounce this word. And this one, so facsimile, you have to pronounce this word, not facsimile. I don't know. There's so many ways people pronounce it. But it should be facsimile, like this. Ah, as in fat, that sound. Facsimile. Facsimile. That's how we have to pronounce this word. So very little thing, only 4 words. These are the exceptions that I've come across. So if you get to know these 4 words, that's more than enough when it comes to this E ending words. Extempore, Adobe, hyperbole, and facsimile. And the next one's about letter R. So we always pronounce it irrespective of whatever comes next. But with the British English, the letter R is not always pronounced. If the R is followed by a consonant, then we have to silence it. That's a basic rule. For example, the word, I've given a word here, word, sword. Now here in this word, the W is also silent. This R is silent because there's a rule, because the R is followed by a consonant. In English language, if the letter R is followed by a consonant, then you have to silence it. But if the letter R is followed by a vowel, then you have to pronounce the letter R. But in this word, the W is also silent. We have the rule why the letter R is silent, but there is no rule for the W. So likewise, there are so many words. We just have to learn it. We just have to use it as it is. There is no other way. So word, sword, world, marker. Both R's are silent here. Both R's are silent here. So just this is what you have to remember. Any word, the letter R, wherever it is, in the middle or at the end, towards the end, or wherever it is, if the letter R is followed by a consonant, you have to silence it. If it is followed by a vowel, then you have to pronounce it. Look at the words that I've given in the last. Brother, bright, Christmas, great. So what we have to do is some of us, what we do, brother, bright, Christmas, great. That sounding. Okay, it's more than one beat. We have to cut it short to one beat. Some of us say that as with more than one beat. That's why it gives a sound of brother, bright, Christmas, because more than one beat. You have to cut it short to one beat. If you do that, then you're getting it right. Like this, brother. I pronounce it, but I don't say brother, bright, Christmas, great. I do pronounce the letter R, but I do not give more than one beat. If I give more than one beat, then I will pronounce like this: great, Christmas, bright, brother. So that you have to practice. It doesn't come to your tongue easily. You need to practice for some time. You practice it, you will definitely get that. And then if you have questions, please keep it in your mind or note it down. So we will discuss the question at the end. And the next one is not just the word alone. It is also with the sentence. Look at this sentence. And any word ends with the letter R, and the letter R is actually silent. Individual words like dear, door, floor, greater, teacher, also sir, not sar. Some of us tend to say like sar, sar, madam, like that. Sir. It should be sir because the word ends with the letter R. So dear, do, flow without the R, you just the same way how you already pronounce, just drop the R sound. So greater. In this word, and this word is this particular letter R is pronounced because it is followed by a vowel. So you have to pronounce it. But this one ends with the letter R, you have to silence it. So greater, teacher. That's the way we have to pronounce it. Okay? But in a sentence, if a word is there, look at that. This word in the sentence, water. When you say this word individually, the letter R is silent, so you have to pronounce the word as water. But if you put the same word in a sentence, the R is pronounced because the R is followed by a vowel, which is I. So, bottom line is that it's not just the word alone. If you put the if words are pronounced individually, a little differently, but if you put the same word in a sentence, it is pronounced with a little variation. This is one area where it occurs. So here you have to pronounce like this. Water is required. Water is required. So that means you have to pronounce the letter R, but not like R. Water is required. Required? No. Required. So required. Actually here, this E and R are mute. Of course, you know, you may ask, sir, this letter E, the letter R is followed by E. Of course, there are so many exceptions. This is one of the exceptions. Required. Required. There's not required like this. Required. Like this. Required. Required. This is how we have to pronounce it. This word, not required. So look at this word, teacher. Here, when you say this word individually, the letter R is silent. But if you put the same word in a sentence, the same R is pronounced because it is followed by a vowel. So it's just not the word. What you have to understand that what sound comes after the R. That matters a lot. Whether there is a gap or there is no gap, it doesn't matter. What comes after the letter R? Depending upon that, you have to decide whether it is silent or pronounced. So he's a teacher of English language. He's a teacher of English language. I say the letter R, but not like R. So keep that in mind. And the next thing is the letter R. Sometimes we pronounce like the, sometimes we pronounce like the. I'm going to go a little faster because you can understand this. You can grab it a little faster. That's why I'm going to go faster because time is getting up. So, simple. Before vowels, you have to say the. Before consonants, you have to say the. For example, if you write the word on the board, and if you ask any student how to pronounce it, literally nobody in the world can say how exactly the word has to be pronounced, whether it is the or the. Okay? Because the pronunciation of the word the or the is absolutely dependent upon the beginning of the next word. If the beginning of the next word is going to be a vowel, then you have to say the. So look at this example. The echo, the abacus, not abacus, abacus, the ogre, the elephant, the umbrella, like that. But if the next word is going to begin with a consonant sound, then you say the pen, the car, the box, the laptop, the bike, the bus, like that. You understand that? So you just have to check what is next. If the next word begins with a vowel, you decide the. The next word is going to begin with a consonant, you say the. But there is an exception. If you want to highlight a particular point or particular word or anything, if you want to stress, then you shake off all these rules, you go with the. For example, he's one of the best student in the classroom. APTTI is one of the best company that offers TEFL Canada certification. So like that. Because you're giving more importance for that particular specification or a company or a noun or whatever you call that. Otherwise, this basic rule you can remember. So next. Sorry about that. Next word. There are so many words in the English language ending with AGE or EGE. So these words, what we say, usually, some of us, we give the long sound, like age. mileage, breakage, college, village, breakage, wreckage, luggage, mortgage, age. We give the long sound, but we have to cut it short to the short sound. Not a, it should be e, ij. So you have to say mileage. So that age, you just have to replace it with idg, ij, like that kind of a sound, exactly. So mileage, village, college, breakage, wreckage, mortgage. There are so many words. Luggage, there are so many. I have a list of words, and I will also share it with you. So this is what this particular part is about. Just remember, words ending with age or age it should be ij, not age. The next one's about words ending with cial. We say like financial, facial, racial, commercial. Some of us, but that cial ending words must be just like the word shall. So you have to pronounce the word like this: financial, facial, commercial. Here, if there are two consonants together in a word in the English language, any word, both British and American, any language, any style, any variety, one of them is silent. So that means you just have to knock it off. So commercial. Here, the letter R is mute because it is followed by a consonant. So commercial. There are three syllables. Commercial. The cial, you just have to pronounce like this. Shall. Commercial. Not very many words, but very few words, but they are very common. So facial, not facial. Facial, not like facial. It should be like this. A facial, like this. Facial. That's how we have to pronounce that word. Facial. Okay, I hope you got this. So we're gonna go to the next one. And we're ending with ment. There are so many words in the English language. And we usually say like mint as per the spelling. But it should be not a. You know that a is a different sound. Is a different sound. It's the sound you have to give, not a sound. So announcement, pronouncement, treatment. So little change you have to make. So all bits and pieces. The next one. And then words ending with the TAIN. There are quite a few words. And those kind of words, letter I is actually silent. But we tend to pronounce that I also, like captain, some of us. Britain, mountain, fountain, certain. Look at the word. I'll just type it here, the next word. Certain or certainly. No, this I is mute. So you have to go without the I. So certainly, this R is also mute because it is followed by a consonant. So certainly, certainly. And here it is certain because the I is mute. So certain. That's how we have to pronounce this word. So I hope you got this. So we're going to go to the next one. So we're ending with the TION, the suffix. So just right before this TION, you will definitely find the letter A. For sure. 100%. I've never seen any other word without the letter A, just right before the suffix. So that A, we always say just A. A, communication, education. Sometimes you say like long sound. Communication, education, generation, ventilation, like that. But it should be, it's a diphthong. It should be this sound. A. So, small adjustment. A. Communication, education, generation, ventilation, modulation, capitation. So I also have a list of words. I'll send it to you. Don't worry. But all you have to do is just grab exactly what you have to do. A, that's the sound. And that is also the syllable, stressed syllable for all the words ending with a TION. So pronunciation. Sometimes even people tend to say pronunciation. No, it's just Look at this word itself. None, just like the nun. C, just like the C. And here it's A. Pronunciation. Pronunciation. So here, this is where you have to get the stress. All the words ending with the TION. So right before the suffix, you will stress. Sorry, here. A. Education. Communication. A is what you have to stress for all the words. So the next one, we're dealing with ATIVE. We say like cumulative, meditative, imitative, something like that. But it should be like this, not ative. It should be active or tative. We're dealing with the like this. Sorry, I will just put an extra T. It should be active. So you say cumulative, not cumulative, meditative, imitative, representative. There's a word. Representative. No. Tative. No. Te. This is where we have to focus on. A. Te. Look at all these words with the te sound. Accumulate. Okay. Te. Lay. Something like that. And here, tative. Not te, because we give the long sound. It's not the te, it should be ta. Instead of te, or instead of a, the long sound, we give a. So like this, cumulative. It's not kumu, it's cumulative, meditative, imitative, representative. That's the way we have to pronounce. So representative. So this is where we have to get the stress. And this yes, you have to get the Z sound. So representative. So this is how you have to pronounce words ending with ATIVE. For all these, I have a list of words I'll also share with you at the end. So words ending with the SION. What we do usually, we give the yes H sound. It's not the yes H sound you have to give. It should be the Z sound. Jean. Look at this word. Fusion. Delusion, not delusion, like this. E, D. Delusion. Version. J. That's the sound you have to give, not sh. We usually give like this sh sound. Like this. Delusion, version, fusion, like that? No. It should be jeune. Words ending with the S-I-O-N. You remember that. It should be jet sound. So this particular sound, I don't think it is there in Hindi. It is definitely not there in Tamil or Telugu or Malayalam, Kannadam. I'm not sure about Hindi because I'm not familiar with the language Hindi. But this sound is not there in our language. That's why we don't say that at all. It's just exactly like when you say the SH sound. The SH sound. How do you say it? How is your mouth position? Okay, exactly the same way. Keep your mouth position exactly how you ended with the SH sound, and keep your fingers here, Adam's apple. Shh. If you say shh, like chup chup, we say stop, don't make noise like that. Shh. That's the sound. It doesn't vibrate if you put your fingers on the Adam's apple. Okay, and but that's how we usually say. Some of us, or I would say majority of us, but it should vibrate. Like try to sound like the honeybee, like that. Shh, not that. The same mouth position. Keep your mouth position exactly the same. Only the blowing air, you have to try to sound like the honeybee. That is exactly the sound for the symbol. So delusion, fusion, version. That's how you have to pronounce these words. And the next one, similar sound, words ending with SUAL and SURE. So what we do, we say usual, visual, we say usual, visual, casual. No, it should be that sound, the previous sound. It should be visual, casual, usual, with a j sound, j sound. Three like symbol. So in the phonetic alphabet, you have this symbol, one of the symbols. It's a consonant sound. So you have to give this sound there. So you have to say usual, visual, casual. Similarly, words ending with SURE, what we say pleasure, like this. We say like SH, pleasure, treasure, exposure. Not like that. You have to give this sound. This sound exactly here. Pleasure. The three like symbol. The symbols do not have any specific name except one sound, the inverted E. The E is inverted upside down, sorry, left to right. That is called the schwa. That's called the schwa. Otherwise, the other symbols do not have any other name at all. So here you have to get the sound. Pleasure, sorry, pressure, treasure, SURE together like this. J sound here. J. Ah, sorry. Exposure. Here you have to give the E sound, not A. E. Exposure. Exposure. Treasure. Pleasure. Measure. I also give some of the other words as well, like measure, uh, measure, pleasure, and not leisure. We say leisure period. Leisure time. No, leisure. Le, because this I is mute. Leisure, the three like symbol. So leisure, pleasure, measure. So we have to replace that je sound instead of sh sound. It should be je sound, like this like symbol. And some of the other words, no, not this. This word, we say like so many ways. We say this particular word, but it should be Jean. This symbol, Jean, not the name John, like John. It's not that sound. It is this sound, which is, I think I explained to you how it has to be pronounced. The SH sound, you have to say like the honeybee sound, like sh, that sound. So you have to say genre. There are two ways you can say. Either you can say Jean, Jean, or you can say genre, genre. These are the two standard ways to say, both in American as well as in the British English. So either you say genre or genre. So first you need to try to practice to get that exact rhythm for that sound. Okay, so whatever I did, I'm going to just talk about, give you the words handout. Look at these words. I have another 20 minutes, I believe, so let me just go ahead with it. I'm so sorry. Okay, so here, look at this word ending with CALLY. So all these words, what we do, we pronounce all the A's, but this A's is actually silent. You have to silence the A. So you have to say artistically, basically, not basically, biologically, genetically, grammatically. No, not kali. So that means, and also any word with a double consonant, two consonants together, one of them is silent. So you have to say clee. So artistically, frantically, genetically, grammatically, graphically, simple. You just have to drop the A sound for all these words. So keep that in mind. It's very easy. So you can practice at home because I'm going to send it to you these words so you can practice at home. The next one. So this is some of the words where we usually the first sound alone we say with the abacus that's the sound we actually give adolescent, admiration, whatever, admirable, adjective, adequate, anxiety, apathy, apparatus, appetite, but it should be like the word does in cat, mat, the A sound, cat, mat, that's the symbol for that sound. Like you wide open your mouth, and then you pronounce the sound so that's the sound you have to give. Abacus, abby, abdicate, not abdicate. Abdomen, no, abdomen. You have to say as in cat, mat, rat, fat. Abstain, advert, advert, no, adverb, not adverb, adverb, just the first sound. Arrogant, not arrogant. Application, not application. Application, aspirant, asset, astronaut, athlete, atmosphere, not atmosphere, 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 attestation, not attestation, attestation, attribution, avenue, avocado, Anniversary. So likewise, acquisition with the Z sound here. Because in the English language, if you find the letter yes in between the vowels, the yes you have to give the Z sound. Simple as that. So you have to. Okay, sorry. So yeah, this particular word. In this particular word, the yes is in between the vowel. Look at that. Acquisition with the Z sound you have to give. Acquisition, acquisition, acrobat. So antagonist, not antagonist. I don't know. Some people say whatever. Antagonist. So that's how we have to say. And the next one is about. Okay, so I talked about some of the words where we only give this a sound. It should be a, ache, age, blame, break. Just imagine that there is an I next to a. So that's the way you have to pronounce it. Date, case, case, face, game, brain. These are some of the words, but there's plenty of words where we have to replace that particular sound. And this is interesting. Look at these words. There are like 2 pages. Look at that. And there are about 160 words or something. These are whatever I'm just showing it to you. It's all my research. And what I did, I just handpicked every word from the dictionary one by one. So look at these words. For the first letter alone, these 2 pages are concerned with the first letter alone. So we only give the sound of a like this: election, electrician, embrace, emerge, emission, emotion, emotive, empire, like that. A. That is the sound we give for all these word beginnings. But we have to replace it with E sound. Not A as in E, as in fit, miss, bit, list, that sound, E. So you have to say elect, elective, emerge. The R is mute, you know that. You know the rule. Emission, emotion, 11, effect. I'm just randomly going. Elite, not elite, elite. Empower, employee, not employee. Employment, not employment. Effusion, words ending with SION, jeune. And then eject, emancipate. Again, another page. Extend, not extend. Express, expense, expel, excel. All these words, only the beginning. Of course, the other words also have some changes with the pronunciation, but here we only focus the first sound, E alone. Excited. Excuse. Here there are 2 changes you have to make. One, it's the E sound in the beginning, not A. And here the S is in between the vowels, so you have to get a Z sound. So excuse. Executive, not executive. 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 Extremely, extreme, like that. Expose, exposure with a j sound, not exposure with a sh sound. No, j, exposure. And then you can just practice your own. It's self-explanatory. And then some of the words: o sound, alone, bone, close, code, o. That's the sound we give for all these words. So instead of telling you have to give because it's a diphthong. There's another sound along with that. Those, vote. You have to get the Z sound because the yes is in between the vowels. So arrow, blow, total, both, elbow. So coast, hope, open. Not open like open. It should be like open, like that. So that again you can practice yourself. Here, these are some of the words that where the letter R is pronounced because the R is followed by a consonant. You know the vowels are A, E, I, O, U, but there's another letter that is also considered to be a vowel. That is the letter Y because it is a semi-vowel. Because sometimes it is vowel, sometimes it is consonant. For example, if a word begins with a Y, most of the time it is a consonant. But if a word ends with a Y, it is a diphthong. So diphthong comes under vowel. Not vowel, it's vowel. 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 That's the way we have to pronounce it. So, so you can practice these words. And some of the words, AGE words, like voyage, cabbage, college, cottage, words ending with AGE, you have to give the sound as ij, not age. Ij. So you can go through that yourself. And then words ending with CIAL, social, racial, facial, special, crucial, glacial, official, judicial, not judicial, judicial, financial, artificial, provincial. So these are very least number words with this kind of ending. So you can practice the ones that are usually used. Okay, so the words ending with ment. So we usually say meant, but it should be month with the a sound here. So you can find some example words for that. Not example, it should be example. And the words ending with able, we say notable, suitable, editable, no, notable. Able, not able, no, able, notable, suitable, editable, quotable, rentable, writable, sortable, gettable, and trustable, comfortable. Look at this word. The O and R are mute. So comfortable, comfortable, accountable, respectable, not respectable. It's just the I sound. RIS, like that. Respectable, reachable. So that's the way we have to pronounce that word. And look at these words, some of the words. So these ed ending words I talked about. All right. So if these words are just the ed is pronounced just like the t, but here this ed is pronounced like the t. So you have to say I'm sorry. So asked, clicked, kicked, looked, booked, and crossed, dressed, uh, rushed. You have to give the T sound. Or just to give you an example, just hang on. I'm opening my WordPad. Okay, let me just make it a little bigger so that it'll be visible to everybody. Okay, you just remember these sounds. Very important. Okay, P, T, K. These are called aspirins. These sounds are called aspirins. These three alone, not this sound. F, and then S, and then SH. That's it. So if a word is going to end with any one of these letters, and if you're going to go add ed at the end of the word in order to make that word into past tense, this particular ed, you have to replace it with T sound. For example, clap. So if you want to make it to past tense, you add ed. So, sorry, double P. So this ed, you have to give the T sound. So it should be like this. Clap, clap, clapped with the T sound. You just have to replace the ed with the T sound. Anyway, clapped and I don't know. There are so many words. Clapped. You can think about it, and we'll go to the next one. Any word ends with the T sound, like treat, treat, and then you put ed to make it past tense. This actually pronounced like id sound, not treated, but this T is a little different from this rule. So we just remember P, K, F, SH, and SH. I'll give some example. You say kick, kick, you add ed, so it should be kicked, kicked. And then I booked a ticket. No, not looked it. No, looked. This is how you have to pronounce it. And then booked it, not booked it. It's booked. That's how we have to pronounce it. Oh, sorry. K, missing. Booked. And then this F, like bluff, ed, bluffed, like bluffed, or more or less like bluffed, not bluff. So probably we put the u itself. So bluffed like that, and then you say kiss. You put ed. That ed t sound. So you have to say kissed, kissed, and then you say push. You want to make it to past tense. You put ed. So that should be pushed. That's the way we have to pronounce it. So literally, this letter T is pronounced in three different ways. Sometimes it is T sound, sometimes it is D sound, sometimes it is id sound. So, how to find out when the T is pronounced? You have to remember the the K, uh, P, K, F, SH, and S. Remember these word ending. Remember these sounds. After these sounds, if you put ed, that is T sound. Okay? And the words like ending with T and D. If a word ends with the T and D, and then after that you put id, like id. For example, want. So you put a ed because this word ends with an T sound here. So if you put ed, so it should be like this: wanted, not wanted. We usually say like this: wanted. No, it should be wanted. Id sound. So you have to remember only this is the these are very basic rules. Okay, it's rememberable. So any word ends with a T and D. If you put ed after this, that ed has to be pronounced like the id. Any word ends with the P, K, F, SH, or S. And if you put ed after these words, those eds must be pronounced with the T sound. And the rest of the sounds are just D sound. Simple. The rest of the sounds are just D sound. The remaining letters I'm talking about. Apart from these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Apart from these 7, the rest of the letters, any word ends with the other letters, you put ed, that is as it is D. For example, if you say clean, you put ed, that is just ed, D sound itself, but it's just E is mute. That's it. The rest, otherwise, the same way how we say it. So I have given some example for all these. You can just check. This is like we're asked because the word ends with a K. So you put the ed. It is a T sound. So look at the word. Also ch. Remember, I missed out the ch as well. Sh and ch. If a word ends with a ch and you put ed after that, it is a T sound. So you can just go through yourself. That's the id sound for all these words would be ending with either T or D. So you say id. So likewise, the S sound. And remember, the plural S is not always the yes sound. Sometimes it is yes, sometimes it is Z. What you have to remember is the yes sound, okay? P, T, K, F. So these are the sounds you need to remember. If a word ends with these, and you're gonna go put the S to make it plural, that S you have to give the S sound. Otherwise, it is the Z sound. For example, it's not only the plural S, it's also the present tense verb. For example, learn. Learn. I learn. You learn. That's what I'm talking about. You learn, but he learns. She learns. That S is also come under this rule. Okay, this particular S. This verb S as well as plural S. Remember, any word ends with these ending. And if you're gonna go put yes, give you example like clap. You put yes to make it a present tense verb. And this verb you have to give yes sound. Claps. Similarly, this ending uh, word lit what ah kit, something like that. You say kit, If you put yes, it is a yes sound. So otherwise, it is always that sound. So just remember, all you have to remember is PTKF. Sorry, T is missing.
Excuse
Okay.
me, Suresh. Sorry to
Yes,
interpret.
ma'am.
I think you are left with 2 more minutes.
Okay, I remember that. I just watched the timing as well. For example, apart from these letters, any letters, for example, if a word is going to end with L, like bell, you put a yes, you have to give the Z sound. Okay, for plural as well as verb. And if you're gonna go like you can use this word as a plural as well as verb as well as a noun. Now or any other word ending with bag, and then you put yes to make it verb. That should be that sound. So bags, bags. When you say bag, you put a yes to make it bags to make it plural. That s must be that sound. So all you have to remember is these three. PTKF. I'm sorry. If a word ends with a PTKF, you put a yes, verb s, plural s, it is just a yes sound. Otherwise, Z sound. Simple as that. That's it. And all these ism words, maybe the spelling is yesam, but you have to get the Z sound. All the ism words. I hope you know that. What are the ism words? And if you find the letter yes in between the vowels, I already talked about it. You have to get the Z sound. For example, deserve. Yes is in between the vowels. You have to get the Z sound. Preside, president, presume, prose, reason, refuse, resent, analyze, amuse, advise, acquisition, accuse, browse, leisure, lose, music, reuse, revise. Because all these words, you find the yes in between the vowels, and the yes, you have to get the Z sound. Okay, so whatever I talked about, but where would you just simply go and verify whether whatever I say is correct or not? So you have this website, you know that it's the online dictionary, dictionary.cambridge.org. That's the website, online dictionary. Any word you put it here, and you have this word definition, and you, just right next to the word you have the speaker symbol. You click this UK, that gives you the UK pronunciation, and this one gives the US pronunciation. This is the phonetic transcription. In other words, it's a formula as to how you have to pronounce a word. Okay, so that is it. So why pronunciation? If you ask me, perfection. We talked about professional level. So you cannot just by pronouncing. For example, I went to the market. I bought many vegetables. I spent a lot of money, and people are looking at me. And then I went back to my house. I gave all the vegetables to my mother. My mother kept all the vegetables in the fridge. Look at the English that I spoke. There's nothing wrong with the vocabulary. Perfectly perfect. There's nothing wrong with the sentences. Everything is perfect. No grammatical mistakes, no vocabulary mistakes. But still, you cannot put my level of English into something higher. Will you be able to put this kind of English into something like 100%? You cannot. Can you put it under 85? No. Can you at least put it into 70%? No. Perfection. So probably you can put it to good, 50%, because I would say that, of course, even if you're good at vocabulary, even if you're good at grammar, but if you're poor in pronunciation, you can never go beyond this level at all. I would say, from my perspective, of course, perspective varies. Perfection varies a lot. The language that I spoke just a while ago, English language, that was different. So you cannot go beyond this. If you want to go here, you need to learn to pronounce English words perfectly. Not all the words. According to this Cambridge English Dictionary, it's an Oxford English Dictionary, there are like 1,75,000 words in English language. Okay, you don't have to learn all the words. If you learn at least around 20,000 words, that's more than enough. At least try to know the right way how to pronounce all those 20,000 words, and then that's enough. You can call yourself professional speaker. Okay? Fine, thank you. Any questions, please? Thank you.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yes.
Well, I have a question. Actually, there are few words, as in, we say it corn. and we say it's cement. So the sound of the letter C changes. I mean, at times we get really confused when to use the k and when to use the C sound, the k one.
There. Could you just say the word again? I lost the word.
Corn, that is CORN, the corn that we eat. And
Okay.
the other one is the cement that we use, for building houses.
Okay. So these
So
are
the
like basic. We would
pronunciation
have.
is
Yeah.
different.
Yes. The C, there is no actually C sound at all. The letter C gives, if you see the phonetic transcription, there is no C sound at all. The C sound gives either K sound or S sound, depending upon the word. For
Okay.
example, words like, uh, some people would say like accessory. No, it
Hmm.
should be accessory. So first sound is the K sound, the second one is the yes sound.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes.
Suresh, can you hear me? Am I
Are you
audible?
there?
Hello, Suresh.
I think Suresh disconnected, I guess,
I
right?
think there is some network issue with Suresh. I'll wait for 1 minute
Waiting
and
for a minute.
then we'll wind up the
Yeah, I
session.
guess.
I'll
We got
just
questions actually. Miss Susmita.
yes,
Good
Monet.
evening. Good evening.
Yeah,
Ma'am, can you hear
Suresh.
me?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah,
ma'am,
now we.
my apologies. My apologies. The charge in my laptop is gone, so it just kicked me off completely. I did not even notice. I'm so sorry about it. So that's why
No
I used my
problem.
cell phone and
We
logged
have
in. I'm so
already,
sorry.
I think.
So that K, I'm sorry.
Yeah, please
Yes,
carry on.
yes, ma'am. No, she was talking about the K, the C sound, but there
And the
is no
k sound,
specific
K
rule in
sound.
the English language as to when out. We just have to find out the list of words with the C sound, and we'll have to learn it as it is.
Okay.
We can use
Okay.
the
So just
dictionary, look at the
yeah. Okay.
symbol.
Just
Symbol will
one
tell
one
you whether
last.
it is a yes sound or a K sound.
Okay. So just one last
Yes,
question. How do we pronounce?
yes.
Is it Vibgyor or is it Vibgyor? I mean, the colors that we see in the rainbow. Is it Vibgyor or is it Vibgyor? I mean, the sound of G is supposed to be G or G. That's the only thing. Little
Uh,
confusing.
I, I don't know. Can you just spell the word, please?
Yeah, it's
It's Viv
V.
Cheer or Viv Gear? She was asking. The
Yeah,
rainbow colors, Viv Cheer or Viv Gear?
I'm so sorry. My apologies. I never heard about this word at all. If you could just tell me the word, I
I
can just
I'll
write it
tell
down
you
and
the
find out
letters.
exactly
I'll
what.
tell you the letters, sir. V as in Victor, I as in India,
Okay.
uh, B as in blue, G as in green, Y
Okay.
as
V.
in yacht, O as in orange, and R as in red. This is the
Vior.
word. So
Vior.
how are we
It should
supposed
be
to say
Vior. Yeah. It should be Vior.
your? You don't need to say G then.
Vior. V. Yeah. V. Your sound. Vio. The letter R is again mute because it ends with the letter R. So V. Yo. Vio. Like that.
Okay, so it's not Vibgyor, it's not
Okay.
Vibgyor, it's Vior.
I doubt it is
I
that way
think
because as per the
I'm sorry.
spelling, it
I'm sorry
calculates.
to interpret, Taman. I think Suresh is not getting the word. He's
Okay,
having some network issue. I think I'll just ask him. I'll
fine,
WhatsApp
fine,
him
fine.
in
Thank
your
you,
query,
thank you.
and I'll get the answer back from
Yeah.
him. All right.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank
Okay.
you, sir. Thank you,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much, Suresh, for sharing your wonderful experience with us and the wonderful
Is that,
knowledge.
hello. Good evening.
It was great
Just
having
one
you
question. Can
tonight.
I just ask?
I'm
So
sorry.
we'll wind up for tonight, and we'll meet soon again.
Okay. Okay. And also, I have a
Thank you.
YouTube
No way.
channel. I have a YouTube channel under the name English with Dr. Suresh. So whatever I just talked about, you can find everything there. There are so many videos. I almost have like 200 videos, something. So you can explore those videos to learn more about English pronunciation as well.
Sure.
So in case
All
if you
right.
want to
All right.
contact me with my phone number, you can even take down my phone number. It is 98411
Shikmita ma'am,
98411
Yes, Sonu.
98 yes
on today's session
98411
slides, I want.
75072. That's my number. You can even, if you want to
Can you
contact
just
me in
repeat
future,
again, please?
you
Can
can
you just repeat
contact me.
again, Mr. Suresh?
Okay. Thank you, Suresh. Good
Could
night.
you repeat the number again, please?
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
I'll,
I'll wind up
I'll
the session.
put it in the chat box.